no copyrights or anything, so they might have lied, but we'll see. We'll see when the copyright strikes come. But anyways, the past few days have been interesting. Uh, there have been strikes in Russia, which are always kind of fun. Uh, there's one. I mean, there was an explosion near Moscow today. I honestly, I don't really have any idea what this explosion was, but there was an explosion near Moscow. That's fun. The other day, there was, I can't remember what day was that was. Was it the 28th, maybe? Yeah. There was an explosion down here in Russia, which I have a video for of today and what the damage looks like. Allow me to move one of my screens. So this is the damage. It's I believe this was a drone strike, for what I understand, that they hit. I believe this was a drone. It was a long range drone where they packed it with more fuel than usual and less explosive than it can carry. So it was like a low explosive yield. And they crashed it into this oil depot place. And this is what happened. So this is the small bomb version of the drone, and it kind of destroyed everything. So obviously the oil helped out. The oil did most of the destruction, but this was a pretty solid hit, I would say. Um, a similar drone, I believe, the same type of drone, but it had no explosive at all. Um, I believe hit near St. Petersburg. But again, that had no explosive in it. So there, from what I understand,
It
Ukraine.
may not have exploded. Like maybe there was explosive, but it did not explode.
No, I
Or
don't.
you know that you
From what I've heard, it did not have any explosive. That it was Ukraine was testing max range. This is the theory anyway. Like I don't obviously I don't know, but the theory is that Ukraine was testing the max range just to see how far it could go into Russia in a real world scenario, not like a theoretical one. And it landed wherever it landed. And the Russians, being Russians, they took photographs and basically told Ukraine where it landed. They could have just grabbed it and not said anything, and that probably would have been smarter. But they took photographs and wrote about it. So that's what I understand. So they sent like one drone north just to see how far it could go, and then they sent one drone south to hit this oil depot place. And I think there was also others, but I forget where they. I can't remember where they landed. Um, so that's all kind of fun. And then obviously the explosion today near Moscow. I have no idea what that is. So maybe that's related, or maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know. Um, so that's kind of the major drone news of the day. I decided to start with drone news. There's also lesser drone news, and this is kind of getting into the world of uh, might be propaganda. I'm not really sure, but the Russians today claimed that Ukraine attacked this town here, um, which you can see is kind of north of Chernihiv and whatever. Uh, they attacked here with a drone, apparently, and they attacked the town that's a little bit further north, um, supposedly, with um, a reconnaissance platoon. They say it was like 40 or 50 people attacking this town. Um, I don't actually know if they were Ukrainian. There seems to be some evidence that they may have been part of Ukraine, and then there's other evidence that shows that they might just be like Russian. But either way, it seems to be that the one Russian was killed. He was apparently driving a truck and he got shot. And beyond that, there's a lot of confusion about what happens. There was rumors of hostages, which I think were all debunked. And then there was rumors of a firefight, which I think is unlikely to be real. I honestly, this is kind of, it strikes me as likely propaganda that these two stories, but I don't know. It falls under drone news, I guess. So, and then there's another drone attack um, near the border of Kharkiv, which was kind of minor and not really worth getting into. So that's the drone attack news. I don't know, Konstantin, did you hear about these supposed border attacks near Chernihiv?
No, I did not. I did not read about border attacks. I was looking. I wanted to look up which drones were used to attack the that oil refinery. I think it was UJ-22 drone, and there was some interesting information about it. And there was some analysis by one of our air defense guys who tried to explain why does it happening. So this is, let me share the link. I will drop it in the chat. It's in Ukrainian, but for people to see. I think there was even a picture of the same drone crash near Moscow. And Andrew, do you need the link in Twitter, or where you want me to send it to?
Twitter is easier, but this is the drone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You already have it. So yeah, this is the drone. It has 800-kilometer range according to Wikipedia, and there is not much more that we know. This is one of its standard, drop payload. But obviously, just like with any drones, you can strap anything you want on top of it. We don't know too much of it, too much about it, but they say that it's 3.6 meter. Its wingspan is 3.6 meters to 4 meters, depending on the type. And they say that it's like you can see on radar, it has 0.2 square meters effective like radius surface. That I don't know the right words in English. I'm sorry about that. And Russians, they do have all the means to actually detect it and stop it. So it just probably a question that they they don't have enough density of their air defense system to intercept it. So it's while they do have equipment, they don't have enough of it, and so our forces basically look for the spots where their defense is not covered, and lead those drones through. That was the analysis, and yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say.
Cool. And there were other drone attacks. I think drone attacks. I'm not really sure. There was an explosion. I don't want to call it a strike. There was an explosion in was this Yesk, and another explosion, which I believe this was actually confirmed, of a downed drone. I think it crashed, or maybe it was shot down.
That's really deep. That's really deep. It's like 600 kilometers.
Yeah. So this one was confirmed, I believe. These two are definitely drones. This one I don't actually know what it was. And I don't actually know if anything happened. There was just a report of a drone strike there, so I marked it, and I don't actually know if it's true. But anyway, so
have you seen that video with the drone landing on top of the A50 aircraft, EW AVAX aircraft? That was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what airport that was in. But yeah,
It
that's
was in
pretty funny.
Belarus. Yeah, I don't remember which airport either,
I
but
think
it
it
was
was it like
Belarus.
this airport maybe. I can't remember. But yeah, that is pretty funny. It's gonna flies in. I like there was an idea that that drone was a recon drone for a attack that came later, but I don't think there was an attack that came later. Like I think that was it. But apparently it was enough that the plane took off and flew away. So is that a victory? I think that counts as a victory, making the plane fly away. Uh,
Yeah, definitely. They probably destroyed it or damaged the radio equipment there, and that's the key thing over there. I think they probably gonna repair it, but it will take them definitely some time. So it's for the cost of I don't know how much
it's three
$20,000
hundred.
drone.
Yeah, the plane costs $300 million, and and
Yeah, so definitely.
I don't think you can write off that cost either, because that cost is like radar is really expensive. Like all the computer systems, like all the technology that goes into it, that stuff is expensive. So
Yeah, so and don't forget they don't have any capability to produce them anymore. That is, I think, pretty much lost technology for them. And this loss is if the radar system there is broken, it's gonna be hard for them to repair, and it will take a lot of time. And I think in total they have like my wife says it's 9. I think they have only 6 that actually work. So yeah,
um,
six or 7. Someone says.
there are different versions of the plane. This version of the plane is the rarest, and it's the most modernized. I believe that they have 6 of this modernized version, and then they have 3 of the older version. And then I believe in addition to that, they have one experimental plane that like hasn't entered service yet. That's it's like the next step up. Like it's the new version. It's supposedly like like far superior, but it's still in like the experimental stages. Like it's not in the military yet. So
Do you mean I think A100 Beriev?
yeah, the A100.
It's called Beriev. I don't exactly remember. Yeah, A100. I think it's A100 Beriev. Yeah, they have one. I think one of them, but it's not one of them like being developed, but it's not in service. It was not taken into the military.
Yeah. So over the past few days, there have been numerous like deep strikes for Ukraine, and also like these 3 markers represent um, drones being shot down over Crimea. So there are all sorts of drone attacks all over. So if you kind of see like there's these 3 in Russia, these 3 in Crimea, and then there was one near Moscow, one near St. Petersburg, and I don't know if you count the one in Belarus, but these are like all drone related events. And then in addition to that, a they blew up. Uh, I mean, there were explosions in this town as well, which I believe was also drone related. So just a lot of drones going on. So, but anyways, these deeper strikes, there have been multiple hits on Melitopol, multiple hits on Mariupol, and lots of hits in Avdiivka. Um, there's a wagon factory here or a tractor factory, whatever. Uh, this tractor factory has been getting hit pretty hard. I believe the thing's been hit by like 4, 6 HIMARS missiles at this point. Um, so yeah, and then up in Luhansk there was a missile strike. I don't know if this is actually within HIMARS range. It might not be. Like it seems pretty extreme. Like I don't think this was HIMARS. Um, I honestly don't know what the strike would be. It could be like a Dashka U or something. I'm not really sure. So, anyways, that's kind of all the strike news that I have. Beyond the drones, it's not super interesting, but you know, um,
Maybe it was Vilha. Have you heard about that? There was a recent article posted by, I think it was Warzone, and they cite one of the Ukrainian military officials. He says that we're using modernized Vilha system, 300 millimeter one. It has a bit bigger range. I think it has a 120 mile range or something, and it carries a bigger payload because it's 300 millimeter system, and it's indigenous. I don't know how to say it right. It's indigenous Ukrainian developed missile, which is claimed to be highly accurate and effective. So,
I mean, it
and
could be.
yeah, go ahead.
It could be. From what I have read about this strike, um, there was apparently a information leak that got to Ukraine about an officer being in a certain location, and then that location exploded, and they closed down the roads and didn't let anyone take any photographs of what happened. That's what happened from what I remember.
Was the dude was his tablet on to take the pictures?
I don't know. Uh, but anyways, the Kupyansk and this whole area here has been getting heavily shelled recently. And I have some pictures of a building destroyed in Kupyansk, and here it is. I mean, it's in one sense, it's just if you see one building get destroyed, you kind of see them all. But this is just the sort of destruction that Kupyansk is seeing. This is just one building, um, but this is happening constantly all over the city. They've been hitting schools primarily because they just love hitting schools. They've been hitting government buildings, um, apartment buildings, and pretty much anything else they set their eyes on. And this kind of goes not just for Kupiansk, but for all of the towns around it. It is getting heavily shelled with not only artillery, but with S-300 missiles, with rocket barrages, and you just kind of you name it. So, and Devrichna is also getting heavily shelled, and all of the hills in between them are getting heavily shelled. Um, so that's this kind of Kupiansk area is kind of slowing down, and in large part it's due to the Russian commander who is in charge of this kind of sector is actually extremely competent, and he knows how to conduct kind of a modern type of war, where he's not like when you think of like the average Russian commander, you kind of think of like a Soviet trained like kind of monkey who just charges in the combat headlong, and like the mass charges and suicide attacks and like we
If we
pressing
see
too
the
hard.
minefield, we act like the minefield is not there,
Yeah.
right?
This guy is not like that. He's more of a Western type commander where he's being very slow, patient, methodical. He's testing things. He's not really making mistakes. So the Russian commander in this area is actually pretty smart. I don't know what exactly his like what his area of command is, because he whether like I don't know if he's controlling like Kuzimivka or anywhere south, but I do know that the person who is in charge around Kupyansk is actually pretty smart, and that in large part that's why not too much is going on, because he's kind of patiently looking for weaknesses. They're trying to probe across the river to find a crossing point. Likely the crossing point will be in this bend here. I think. Um, but the so that they're probing across the river. They kind of they stopped attacking south because of what we talked about like 2 weeks ago, where Ukraine has this hill here that overlooks all of this flat ground, so that they kind of stopped. They tried pushing, they got beat back, and then they stopped. So they're not really attacking south anymore. Now they're trying to move west. Their number one goal is to capture the Dvorizhzhia. They really want this. It's their prize. They want to get this bridgehead and attack Kupyansk from the north. I know a lot of people have said, why don't they just like cross the river in Russia and then push this way? I actually don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, that's kind of beyond my pay grade. Like, why wouldn't you just push that way? But they want to cross the river because I guess it's more fun. So, uh, anyways, so that's kind of all I have to say about the Kupiansk area. Um, uh, Today, Ukraine said that Russia shelled near Kuzimivka, which was interesting because I don't think they've ever said that before. Um, Kuzimivka is basically you see this train station here and this like uh rail these railway here. Basically everything east of this train station is Kuzimivka. So all of this yellow area is Kuzimivka. So shelling Kuzimivka could basically mean just shooting just short of the train station. So it doesn't mean that they're actually shooting in. So anyway, so that's anyway, Konstantin, do you have any news from Kuzimivka?
No, that's. I think I told you the same thing about the train station. Like administrative border of the Kuzimivka is on that train station. So whenever shell lands there, our press can say that Kuzimivka is being shelled. That's what I was explained by the guys over there, and that's basically it. I don't. There was not much movement on either sides.
Yeah, so I don't really have much news from really anywhere between Kuzimivka and uh and Makivka. But in Makivka, um there's kind of the people don't really agree on what's happening here. And I don't have close sources to get a like a as a tiebreaker. So anyways, the I've heard some sources say that the Russians have pushed closer to Makivka and that they might be around here ish. Here, I'll actually try it. Um, okay, so I've heard that some people are saying that the Russians have pushed like up to here. Others have said that that's not true and that Ukraine has actually pushed east and that the fighting is more like here. Um, so those are two completely opposite things, and I don't really know what to make of it. So I just leave it all the gray area. Um, and going further south, near Chernopopivka, this is a similar situation where some people are claiming that the Russians have pushed to like here ish, and others are saying that that's not true, and the Ukrainians have actually pushed out to like here. Um, I don't I don't know if that's true. I don't know if so I am just not changing my map at all because I cannot confirm either of these things. It is possible that Ukraine pushed back. People are claiming that these three forest strips are in Ukrainian control again, which they lost in the beginning of February. Uh,
Could you show me once again the place? Oh,
this is
your map is going up and down.
this is near Chernopapivka. It's
Oh
these,
yeah, today I think it was today, right?
yeah. So
Someone geolocated stuff.
yeah, so people are claiming that Ukraine has captured here.
Yeah, I will. I actually have. What's the distance from Terni? Could you measure the distance?
It is 6 miles, about.
6 miles from where?
You said from Terni, right?
From Terni, yeah, because I don't see you measuring. That's why I
Oh,
asked.
sorry. It's like 6.5. It's like 6 to 6.5 miles.
Yeah. So I have a video from there. We're gonna release it tomorrow. I
Okay.
cannot show you right now of the combat over there. Russians tried to attack. They had, I think, around 3 tanks, MDLB, some infantry, and they have attacked around that. A bit, actually, even a bit north from that. Maybe it was a separate engagement. Maybe it was just a bit north. Let me give you the coordinates. I actually have the coordinates of it. Thanks to our friend. I'll drop coordinates in the chat if you can pick them up from there.
Okay. Here are the coordinates. Yeah. So right there.
I don't see map updated.
Here, I'll do this for you so you can see it in real time.
Oh yeah, that's. Thank you. 1 second. Let me switch.
Okay. So
Yep. Now I can see it. So yeah, that's around where that Russian had a counterattack. Their counterattack failed. They lost some armor. One of their MTLBs broke down. I think one tank was destroyed. Lost a couple of troops, and it happened, I think, like maybe 2 or 3 days ago. We will post a video about it
nice.
in 2 days.
All right. I'll update my map when I see it then. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about this area. I don't really have any news of Dibrova or this forest area or anything south of that. Um, I have heard, and I don't know if this is this northern part or if it's the southern part, but I've heard that Ukraine has been heavily bombing the forests here with their aviation. So I don't know if that's planes or helicopters. I have heard that people south, so like people near Siversk, have been. They told me that there were they saw airplanes bombing, and they couldn't tell if they were Russian or Ukrainian. I would assume that I would have assumed that they're Russian until I heard today that Ukraine has been heavily bombing it. So maybe it was Ukraine. I don't know. Um, anyways, so Ukrainian aviation is active in this area. Uh, in Bilohorivka, Russia has been, well, they tried to attack it from two different angles. First from the north, and then second from kind of the southeast. And the attack was repelled, and I haven't really heard any news since then. It's being heavily shelled, although there aren't really many buildings left, so I'm not really sure what to shell. And anyway, it's being heavily shelled and also bombed with airplanes. Um, Sprena is kind of still under attack with shelling and um, aviation strikes and also ground attacks from the south, coming from Berestove, kind of moving north. Although there's been no changes. Razdalivka, there may have been a small change. Like Russia may have moved up to there. I haven't seen firm enough evidence of it to change my map, but they may have moved up that far. But it's not really worth talking about. It's maybe like 200 meters at most. And the Fedorivka and Vasyukivka, no changes really. Now we're kind of getting into the Bakhmut area, where things have changed a lot actually. Um, the I don't know what to call this. This is kind of like the north part. But anyway, there's not super big changes in this north part of Bakhmut. Um, there Ukraine, from what I understand, actually, there it's kind of controversial here too. There's a lot of controversy. There's a because there's not really super great news everywhere. So it is possible that Russia has captured this area, although I've only heard claims of it. I haven't actually seen proof of it. So I just when I don't see solid proof, I just don't change my map. So this is how it anyway. So it's possible they may have taken that area. This area south of Dubovo Vasilivka, um, Russia has cleared out um, these fields, and they may have captured the fields as well. I'm not entirely sure. I've marked it as a gray area because I just think if Russia has taken this ground, I think it's flimsy and it could be lost quickly. So, um, like it's ripe for counterattack. In other words, so because Ukraine has a lot of forces kind of built up near Hryhorivka, so this this area could be counterattacked. So I'm not entirely positive. Like I'm not convinced that they've actually captured it, but it's definitely cleared of Ukrainian forces. So they're kind of moving in to attack from the south now, and they're also attacking from the east and from the north. So this town could, if it's not counterattacked, if the southern area is not counterattacked, this town will probably be lost soon. So so the Russians are also moving towards Bodanivka, and they are getting closer and or attacking Kromova. So it's this kind of whole northern section is kind of collapsing. I don't know if collapse is the right word because it's kind of falling into the position that Ukraine wants it to be, but at the same time, that's losing all this ground is not necessarily a good thing. Um, in Bakhmut itself, um, I'm not really sure what to say. Konstantin, you talk about Bakhmut.
1 second. I cannot speak about too much where there is right now. People are asked not to talk about any information, so it does not affect the battlefield. But Bakhmut's still standing. People are fighting there. That's the best I can say, and Ukraine is not yet given up on it. And there is fighting both north, south. As I understand, I think where you're showing your arrow to the left, to the top that's where our Russians are counterattacking towards Kromova. That's where one of the key highway intersections are for the resupplies, and they're just pushing over there. They have some limited successes, but nothing yet but nothing yet decisive. Situation is quite critical, but still there is a way to pull out if needed, and we will see. I don't. So that's the best that I can say. Unfortunately, that's there's an information blackout right now in Ukrainian media, and people are asked not to talk about too much about it.
Yeah, there's this one message from Bakhmut. Um, you can read it yourself. But this is from a soldier in Bakhmut. So um, he basically says the Russians are attacking. They've had little success. They've had a little success. They in some places we've decreased their pace. There's also places where we counterattacked. I cannot say where. We pushed them back a little bit, little by little. They're getting closer to the Konstantinivka road, but without much success. Right now,
So he says they're not getting there, but what he says is that they're putting the pressure on the road, but they have no success of moving through. So that's a big difference there, because I also translated this at the beginning as little by little, but then when I reread, he actually says that they are just trying and failing over there.
okay, and right now we're holding the positions of the highest priority. Bakhmut holds no matter the complexity of the situation. And then this is kind of his tagline, where he says, "Hugging everyone, I lift you up and spin you around and put you back in your place." So, anyone who reads his stuff will immediately know that tagline. So that's kind of the news that we can talk about in Bakhmut. Unfortunately, there's a lot we cannot talk about. So I'm just gonna kind of move on. First, I'm gonna check to see if I have like a video for this, which I don't think I do. And yeah, I don't. So we can move on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we can't get into more about Bakhmut. Ivanivska is my map broke here. It is held pretty decently. Ukraine has pushed back the Russians a bit. They pushed them back about this far, about half a mile, whatever that is in kilometers. They pushed them back about this basically one field in the farm field. So it seems pretty firmly in Ukrainian control right now. Like and so is this forest next to it. So this whole kind of area seems kind of the strongest point in Bakhmut, I think. It's kind of the northern area that's the issue. The southern area they seem to be holding pretty decently. If the northern area could stabilize, then it would really help. It would help a lot, but you know. Bears. So
Yeah, if we manage to push them back, it's gonna stabilize situation a lot. It's unclear if we can do it, but the forces that Russia are employing it right now are quite substantial. But I don't know how long they can keep up the pressure. I don't honestly. They do have a lot of forces, but I just like it's been for too long, and I simply don't understand how they keep managing this with so many losses, and they still keep pushing in some cases. A bit surprising to me, which makes me think that at some point they will just spend all their capabilities, and it may result in something like happened around Kharkiv, where they took Severodonetsk and they took Lysychansk, and next couple of months they lost entire Kharkiv region. I'm hoping that is going to happen. No one knows if it will, but it just situation here is very very complex on the both sides. I mean, even if the Russian take this is how they say Pyrrhic victory, they lost too much, and they're gonna be for them it's gonna be thank God it's over, and but they cannot relax when something is over. You have to have your time to restore. And I mean, they can get counterattack in your face because Ukraine will get the tanks soon. Ukraine will get the BMPs soon. Ukraine will get new artillery soon. And for me, just what they're doing is quite strange, and yeah, it's surprising to me.
Yeah, it's because for however strong the Bakhmut defenses are, the defenses immediately behind it are just as strong, if not stronger. So all of the effort that Russia is putting into capturing Bakhmut, they're going to be having to do just as much, if not more, to get Chasiv Yar, and also to the south there's uh, Toretsk and New York, and they still haven't gotten Avdiivka, although we're going to be getting into that in a second. So all of these other cities are going to be huge attacks, equal if not greater in scope to Bakhmut, and so whatever relief they think they're going to get from capturing Bakhmut is going to be very short lived, because they're going to have to turn around and keep on going. So uh, so it just seems that they're setting themselves up for a morale hit, um, because I think just on a human level, I think capturing Bakhmut will um, make all of the troops not want to attack anymore. Like all the troops in this area, they'll just say like, "Okay, we did it, we win," and like we want to rest now. Don't you think? Like just on the human level, I just how do you take someone who fought for like we're getting to like what 8 months now, like fighting for 8 months to capture a city, and then as soon as you capture it, say, "Okay, time to the next one." Like it's just on a human level, it seems like a big ask. So I just don't know how realistic it is for Russia to keep going after this.
And the morale issues here. I mean, if this is such an incremental, such small gains, uh, it's just ridiculous. They still there is still on their way Kostiantynivka. There is still they want to take Slaviansk. They want to take Kramatorsk, which are much bigger cities and much better fortified. And it just does not fall into my mind like how they can. What is the plan? I mean, if they're gonna spend so much resources on every city to achieve their political goal, and remember, the war is just another way to achieve your political goals. You don't just wage war for fun. They want to reach their political goals. It's just insane. I mean, it's they cannot. It, unless they come up with something, it's gonna result into sooner or later they're gonna run out both of troops spare parts, like Andrew is saying, shells, and vehicles, and troops. They're not replenishable. People say that, oh, they have 140 million. Yeah, they do, but it's have you seen the size of the country? They will have to and they're not taking Moscow and Saint Petersburg. They will depopulate Russia, and they will pull those people out of the economy. And for Russians, it's all fun and games until they are actually themselves are being drafted. We've seen then that when the war, when they started a mobilization, they had protests. Even in Russia, they had some protests against the mobilization. People are not happy with it. People, even though people want Ukraine to be destroyed, they don't really want to invest their own. They don't want to do anything about it. They want someone else to do this. So they don't want to do the sacrifice, and they are being asked for sacrifices right now.
It's it's gonna get bad. That's why. There's also economic issues going on in Russia. Like they're gonna run out of money eventually. But anyway, that's us kind of getting into a totally different topic. So I think I'm going to move on further south. I don't have any particular news of this kind of New York Touretsk area. Um, there's ongoing fighting near Novobakhmutivka and Alexandropol, but I don't really know much of what's going on. Um, there's ongoing fighting near Krasnohorivka, but again, no particular news. Same with Kamyanka and the southern part of Avdiivka. There was a absolutely fascinating report from the southern port of Avdiivka that I read today. I think it actually came out yesterday, but the report more or less said that in the recent attacks on Avdiivka, from by the Russians over the past month and a half, 2 months, in these attacks, they claim that the Russian not, the Ukrainian artillery was so effective in destroying these attacks that not only did they stop the attacks themselves, which we've seen the videos of just huge amounts of losses by the Russians. Like they lost tons of tanks, tons of BMPs, just tons of infantry. Um, Not only did the Ukrainian artillery stop those attacks, but they are also claiming that the artillery destroyed their defensive emplacements that were built before their invasion. So like built from 2014 until now. So um, they the Russians are claiming, and I don't actually know if this is true. I can't. I mean, I'm not there, but they're claiming that the southern part of Avdiivka is now their defense is crippled because of these suicide attacks, and as a result, they are now supposedly, from their words, not mine, they are afraid of a Ukrainian counterattack south of Avdiivka. Um, it could be lies. They could just be saying that, hoping to like lure Ukraine into a trap. It could be true. The people saying it may just be making up lies. Like they might just be nobodies who are just lying. Like I don't actually know, but that's their words. In the south of Avdiivka, that they claim that their defenses are gone. Um, West of Avdiivka, uh, Russia has been pushing up to attack basically everywhere. They're pushing up to attack Tonenka. They're pushing up to attack Lesto Lestashkina. I don't. How do you say this? I don't know how to say it. Oh, anyway,
Lastочкина.
Lestashkina, and they're also attacking kind of this kind of western edge of Avdiivka. Um, so the fact that Russia has been able to advance this far was very concerning, because this position is, um, at least logically and on paper, very easy to defend. So there's a slight incline, basically, from Vodiana up to this position. It's a very slight incline. I don't like it's not a hill. It's just like an incline where Ukraine was obviously at the top, and they have things like Stugnas and tanks and whatever else that can shoot down this hill with a lot of accuracy, especially the Stugna, where you can hide very effectively, and shoot down and take out their vehicles as they move up. Somehow, the Russians have managed to push up significantly, with pretty significant casualties, and now the town of Severna is under threat of being captured. It's not captured. Part of it is a gray area, and part of it is in Ukrainian control. But this area is under threat, and it's kind of disappointing. I do have a video from this area, which I don't know if the video is new or old. This is the video. Um, this is one of their attacks on Siverna. So that attack was right here. It's actually kind of interesting because the the craters that these tanks were dying in are so old that they're on Google Maps. So that's kind of fun. Um, you can you can see these craters in the video. You see like these three dots and then this kind of smudge. Um, you see the three dots there and then this kind of smudge. So it's pretty easy to geolocate. Um,
So when did this happen? When did this?
this video, I saw this video today.
I've seen it today. I mean, do you know when it happened? Like a week ago, or?
I don't know exactly when it happened. Although I do know that Russia has pushed much further north than here by now, so it is likely older, maybe a week or two old. I'm not sure. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know when it was filmed. Um, and furthermore, Russians have pushed through about, I don't know if you'd call this a third of Pervomaisky, whatever this is. They're pushing both um, through the main part of the town and through the northern part of the town, and this kind of they're moving through Vodiana um, into the northern part of Pervomaisky. And who you talk to, Vodiana is in lots of different places. I believe the locals will tell you that Vodiana goes from here all the way up to this road. So this entire road is Vodiana. I think if you go by legal documents, then this area up here is Pervomaisky. But anyways, um, Russia is attacking both on that road and through this southern route um, north of this pond. They couldn't move through the southern part of this pond because all of these buildings are destroyed. It's very difficult to move through. I guess they found it easier to move through the wide open field. Apparently, it's safer. So yeah, this whole area is kind of dangerous um, for Ukraine. It's not critical by any means. It's not like Avdiivka is about to collapse. Like that is not true. But it's just getting kind of more dangerous. Okay, so moving on, moving south. Uh, anyways, so the Marinka area has more or less stabilized. They're trying to push south into Pobieda, although they have not. They've reached Pobieda. I think on the last stream I talked, they got into these buildings here, and then they got beaten back again, and now they are trying to move back down the highway again. Um, I don't know of much success. Um, the middle of Marinka, um, these, I believe, this building here, um, was hit by a helicopter attack the other day. So this building, I believe, is held by Ukraine. I kind of just keep this whole area as a gray area because it just moves so much. I don't. It's hard to track. So, but Ukraine was in that building, which was interesting. Um, this northern kind of pig farm area is a big kind of question mark to me. It's possible Russia controls this whole area. I've heard that Ukraine did a counterattack and it was semi-successful, but I couldn't find solid evidence about a counterattack there. Um, and that's and also the other like a week ago, you had a video of an attack coming up this road south of Novomykolaiivka, and I believe they're still trying to push the southern part of Novomykolaiivka, but I'm not entirely sure. I know that they are attacking Novomykolaiivka, but there's so many different ways to attack it. It's kind of hard to guess which way they're using today. But yeah, there are. Oh, speaking of Marinka, I have a video of Marinka. I almost forgot. Here's a video.
There is this video from Associated Press, I think. Yeah.
So if you're asking if there's a standing building, then if these count as standing, then yes. Yeah, it's this footage. It does look like old World War II footage. It looks like it's in black and white almost.
There is not much less of the city. That's how Russian liberation looks like. They're gonna kill you or liberate you. You have a choice.
Okay, so moving down south, um, um, Russians are still attacking Vuhledar for some reason. They withdrew a whole bunch of forces. A bunch of the 155th. They withdrew from casualties. They pulled them down south towards Mariupol, I believe, to refit after they were completely massacred. They probably need a whole bunch of new vehicles too. Who knows where they're going to come from, but they're going to need them. But they're still attacking Vuhledar. There's some evidence that they've recaptured this dacha area. I don't actually think they have. I think it's still a gray area, which is why I still have it as a gray area. But there's some evidence that they may have captured some of this. They've they made several attempts to attack this old old coal mine, but they were beaten back. This mine is kind of the strongest defensive point that Ukraine has. They're using the underground areas as like a fortress, and they move forces out into Vuhledar as needed and across kind of this whole front. So this mine is kind of a natural fortress. Um, Today, um, there was a video from, I believe, right here, I think, judging by this little house, of a tulip being destroyed. So here's that video. This is a 240 millimeter mortar. Um, this mortar is,
Do you know location where it was destroyed?
yeah, I have the location. I'll show it to you in a second. But this mortar is considered by a lot of people one of the scariest weapons that Russia has in its arsenal, because it just creates such a gigantic explosion. But it's right here. See, it even says here.
Yeah, you cannot deny that. That's undeniable.
It's yeah, that's where it is. I believe it's here anyway. There's this little housey thing here, and these two big long buildings, and that kind of fits the video. You see, the housey thing is kind of right here under the smoke. You see that, and these two big long buildings. I think this is the right spot. I'm not entirely sure. Uh, I spent like 10 minutes looking, and this is the place I found. uh, but yeah, this is yeah. So okay, so I have a kind of another fun video. This is a Lancet drone. There's a part one and a part two. So here's part one. I don't actually know where this is filmed. It could be anywhere for all I know. But it is a Lancet striking a Ukrainian self-propelled gun. Um, so this is what the Russians showed you in their little Russia Today thing. Look how impressive it looks. And this is the here, I'm going to play the audio for this one. So that is no Constantine, could you hear that?
No, I did not hear it. Did they say something?
Yeah.
Let me. Can you play it again, sir? What?
Did you hear it that time? Okay. Well, I tried. I'll play.
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot hear it.
Okay.
I tried, but I don't think I cannot hear it. I
Whatever.
watched it on the
I think
Twitch. Yeah, it's muted.
I think my video plugin isn't working because there's a anyway. Whatever. I'm not
But
really.
What did he say?
I don't know what he said. That's the problem. Okay.
Send me the video. That's gonna be the easiest way.
Okay. Well, you talk, and I'll send you.
Yeah, sure. So this is, I think this is M109. This is not Msta. Msta is bigger, have bigger. It does not have separated from the like such a gap on its turret, and its turret is a bit bigger. So I think it's M109 actually. Maybe it's crab, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. Looks like M109. But just tell me where you send it to me when you do.
I will send it to you on Twitter. And I had to convert it to be like to work on Twitter, you know, because it's annoying. All right, it's gonna take me a second.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I got it. I got it. No, it's mine. I send you something as well. So someone is asking. So basically, a drone ate shit. And I don't know, like Lancet looks a bit different. But there are, I think, 2 types of Lancet, right?
Yeah, or more. There might be 3 types. I don't know. Anyways, so I sent you the video now.
So and that's the smaller one, right? That's the smaller Lancet.
Sure.
Вася Петушара уебала в башню. Ёбай туда. Вася Петушара уебала в башню. Ёбай туда.
Oh, he says. He says that like a cock hit into the turret, into the tower, into the turret, and yeah, that's basically not much more. He does not say if it was successful or not, but yeah, that's what he says.
This is your video. Where is this from?
From Twitter, I don't know, but it's from Aidar. It's a part of the 24th Mechanized Brigade. Well, I think not. It's right now. It's assault battalion. Yeah, that's 24th Assault Battalion, and it shows how combines arms operation. I think it was like one of the best examples of how you can employ it. They employ smokes. They spread out. They move properly. They take the positions. They move across the field, not on the road. And I think that's one of the quite. I don't know how successful was the attack. We only see the portion of the combat, but it looks like it's properly planned, exercised, and then conducted attack. So it was pretty cool. It was I would say, one of the most impressive videos that I have seen of the attack. So just wanted for people to see it.
Okay. I'm kind of disappointed that my video plugin isn't working because there's other videos I wanted to show. Anyway, so I have no news really from the Zaporizhzhia front. But there was a lot of news from Zaporizhzhia today. So there was a missile strike on an apartment building where a number of people died. I don't remember how many it was. I think it was 4. I believe 11 more were pulled out of the rubble, plus a few cats, and I think there are a few people still missing. So these are just some images from this attack on a residential structure. It was an S-300 missile that blew the building down. So like the top 4 floors were destroyed, down to the first floor. There were people stuck in the rubble for 4, 5, 6 hours, some more. I believe these people getting pulled out were in the rubble for like 5 hours. So anyone after this would be in the rubble for longer, obviously. These structures here are heating, like mobile heating for the people who had their homes destroyed. This is footage from today in the daytime. Still searching for people. They found some cats. I believe that's what these guys are holding right now, is a little cat.
You can show the picture of there's a picture. I think it's from there with the woman that was found under the rubble. I sent it to you on Twitter.
Yeah, her and her little cat. Unfortunately, 2 of her cats are still missing, which is sad. It's her and her little cat.
Well, I'm glad she and at least this one is alive.
There's this video that I kind of wanted to play the audio for, but the audio isn't working for some reason. Anyways, so this was a very sad event, and it's completely unnecessary. There's no military value in attacking random civilians. This is news from tonight. It says 11 have been rescued, 2 dead were found under the rubble. I have heard that there are 4 dead, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So yeah, it's just sad. It's an event that did not need to happen, but the Russians, I guess, felt it was necessary to shoot civilians with a missile. Similarly, in Nikopol, there's constant shelling. This is from last night of shelling of the residential neighborhood. I believe they were hit with like 9 or 12 or whatever heavy artillery shells, probably 152s, although they occasionally shoot peons here as well. And they also often shoot anti-aircraft guns, so like 23 millimeter, and I think also 40 millimeter. I'm not sure. They shoot something bigger than 23 as well. I'm not sure what it is. It might be 57. Um, so this is basically this entire area around Nikopol is getting pretty heavily shelled. They hit Pokrovska today. They hit Nikopol. They hit this one I don't know. This is Chervono Hyrivka. They hit Marivka, Marhanets. They hit Dobra Nadia and Alinka. Those are just the places hit today, but they also hit pretty much every town here on at least once every 2 weeks, basically. They kind of rotate between them. And the same is generally true for basically every single town along the Dnipro River down to Kherson. And these islands as well, there's kind of active fighting on these islands where small groups, maybe 10 people, are fighting each other. There's been a few videos recently of, I believe it was down here near Hola Pristan, where some Russians kind of jumped into one of these buildings and then got hit by mortars, I think. But pretty much just everything here is getting hit constantly by artillery, mortars. Kutsarib was hit by an S-300, I believe, last night. And Okakiv is regularly heavily shelled. There's a lot of military stuff kind of goes on here. There's a military base, but this whole kind of area is getting heavily shelled every day. Today, the Russians shelled Antonivka, I believe, with grads, and Ukraine did a counter battery fire on those grads, and from what I've heard, the grads were destroyed. I'm not sure on that, but a reasonably accurate source claims that is what happened today. It might not be true. I can't really have like video or photo evidence of it, but the Ukraine has also been taking out ammo depots and other points of interest along this river, in Oleshki and Novokakovka and Kukovka and Tavrisk, and in Veliki Kopani. They have been taking out kind of points of interest in all those areas on a pretty regular basis, several a week. So that is kind of it's all the news that I have to talk about. Constantine, do you have anything? Oh, there's one thing I forgot. I forgot that when I moved through this, when we moved through Kharkiv, but the Russians are setting up minefields in this area of Kharkiv. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So anyway, Constantine, do you have anything else to say?
I don't have much to add in terms of news. You're much more. No, actually, let's. Do you know anything about Chisinau and Moldova? Oh, sorry, Chisinau. About Moldova and Transnistria?
Not anything new. Did you hear anything?
Just a couple of days. They started. I think 2 or 3 days ago, they had started a military exercise, and they said it's going to be a 3 days military exercise, 3 months military exercise. And that military exercise, they said that everyone of the military age is welcome to participate. But yeah, for me, it's I don't understand what is happening there. It's really Volia was wrong. Obviously, you remember the article that we discussed, is it either that was they were on, or maybe it was postponed or cancelled. But yeah, it's just wanted to say that updates from there is that Transnistria government, Transnistria administration called for military exercises for their defensive forces.
Well, good luck to them and their like BTR 40s or whatever they drive around in.
What is?
I think that's what they have, right?
60s. I don't even know what is BTR 40. That's some ancient relic from
Yeah, exactly.
From medieval
It doesn't even like have a top. It just has sides. Like there's no top.
It's like medieval warfare type of vehicle.
I actually think it is a BTR 40. I think I might be wrong, but I think it's.
They have BTR 60s, they have 70s, and they have 80s as well. They also operate some T-64s. I think they had 18 of them. How many of them are functional are not clear, because obviously they're in the state of their finances are not really good. But you must remember that Transnistria is like a huge place of smuggling and contraband, because Russians used to use it just as a way to smuggle stuff into Ukraine, into Moldova, and then Europe, because of the very big long borderline, and they could as well get their spare parts if needed. But that's, I think, all the armor that they have.
There's one really funny. Oh, here it is. I found it. This is like my favorite military picture. Man, I'm gonna here. Oh, this is it. This is
this is the one Russians recently had this thing deployed as well somewhere. I think there were pictures. I think this is like 20 man APC, right?
This is a mine layer, I believe. There's a mine layer that was converted to a APC. I think there's only like 2 or 3 of them in the world. But what I'm talking about is it's just these soldiers. Like
exclusive. This is exclusive.
Look at this guy. Look at this rifle. I just love everything. I love everything about this photograph. I like how like all of them have a different helmet. It's just great. This is a great photograph, and it's relatively new. I think this is from like, it looks like it's from like the 70s, but I think it's from like 2 years ago. It's just great. This is a great photograph. This is their military.
Pretty cool.
This is a BTRG 127 Bumblebee. Here's an article about it. It's from our friends at Oryx. It's a fantastic article.
So what is it?
It's
APC.
Yeah, it's a APC turned into it's a mine layer turned into an APC. Pretty sure.
Oh, nice engineering.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? Look at this gun. Oh, that's not the barrel. That's a bag.
It's huge. It's huge. Well, you don't know if you pull it out, there is a wooden stick instead of a gun.
It might be. But this is the Transnistrian army, man. This is how they roll, literally. Look at these guys. He looks professional. He looks like he knows what he's doing. They even put some branches on top. But yeah, this is a great article. I suggest reading it. A literal metal sheet. Yeah, it is. It's just a metal sheet. No one says armor. It's just metal.
So Daniel is telling me, that's our friend Daniel Arfire.
Yeah.
He's telling me that today Romania president signed the law allowing donations of military equipment from strategic reserves. 24 after 24 hours before the 24 hours before that, Moldova prime minister was in Bucharest, which is capital of Romania. So those things may be connected, and maybe Romania will get some equipment that will allow it to actually liberate it. Who knows?
I hope so. I mean, Moldova's had enough. Like they don't like. It's been 30 years. Come on, like just let them like move on with their lives. Why do they have to be tied down to this Soviet stuff, man? It's ridiculous. I hope it ends soon.
Yep.
All right, so I think that's the stream. I'm gonna turn down the end sheet now. Of thank you for everyone coming. Um, Constantine, you want to say bye?
And yes, I want to say that thank you for coming as well. And please, I want to remind everyone that I have a drone fundraiser that Andrew is talking to me about. We are fundraising $100,000 for drones for Ukraine, for medical to allow medical evacuation, for certain rescue operations, and identifying Russian advances. They do save lives, and if you're interested, please participate. Drop a penny, and we're gonna be absolutely grateful for it. I'm gonna paste a link into the
I already put a link,
directly
but I put a link to the Twitter, and you put a link to the PayPal, so we got it all covered.
Yep.
And
thank you very much.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for coming and for listening and for talking, except for that one guy. That one guy, he doesn't need to come back, but everyone else is good. All right, goodbye everybody.